Hello, everyone, and welcome to this session. So, just to give you a quick intro about the structure of today's session, I'm going to do an overview actually of how we approach agentic UI automation in UiPath to have a better context of how we arrived to develop ScreenPlay and what its role is in this general context. So we're going to go through semantic selectors, semantic activities, a very quick presentation and some very quick demos, because our focus is on ScreenPlay, which Cosmin will present, and then we'll do a couple of demos. Then I will also show you how ScreenPlay also works in Studio Web. I also have a demo on ScreenPlay, and I'll show you a very cool tool that very much helps you debug ScreenPlay, which is called TraceViewer. And then we're going to talk about the public preview program is now in progress, and some words on pricing and an overview of our general philosophy on pricing. So let's start. This is actually an image that one of my colleagues sent me today. He said that this is how it feels sometimes, working with agents. So I hope he was working with another agent, not ScreenPlay. But it's the truth. I mean, one of the major concerns, maybe the biggest concern related to AI and agents in general, is their associated risk. Agency is very cool. It's very useful. It brings a lot of functionality, of new functionality. Cosmin will talk more about this, but it does come with a risk. So one of the the main weapon, let's say, to control this risk is controlling the scope. So the scope of each UI agent, each agent. This is why in UiPath we offer agentic automation at various levels. We call these, let's say, the ones before ScreenPlay can be categorized as, let's say, micro agentic, right? Because they're very focused. We have these semantic selectors that are now in preview and will GA in 2510. I'll show them and I'll do a quick demo of these, which are very powerful fallbacks for traditional selectors, but can also be used as primary targeting methods. Semantic activities are the activities corresponding to clipboard AI, which are focused on web forms. So they're limited to web forms, right? So their associated risk is limited to what we control as detecting web forms. These semantic activities are focused around copying and pasting data into web forms. And then, the next one in terms of risk and agency, obviously, is ScreenPlay, because it's scoped to a single application. And then obviously we are looking into expanding this to multiple application to develop a true computer use, attended solution, assistant solution. So you have all these layers that you can use, and ultimately it's all about optimizing all of them. Maybe I should have put RPA in here as well. At the end of the day, the key, the secret is to how to optimize all these tools in your automation. Okay, now let's take them a bit one by one. The semantic selector. So I was telling you they're a semantic description of a new element. So indicating an element, you'll get a functional description that is very powerful in let me show you, in providing a fallback for selectors. So this is our unified target approach. Maybe you're familiar with this. The primary targeting methods are strict selector and fuzzy selector. If these fail during their timeout, their defined timeout, then semantic targeting, semantic selector can kick in, right? And as you see here, a functional description is pretty powerful. It doesn't matter if this label changes to OK or whatever else. It will still, the description that says, the button that submits the form will still be valid. So let me quickly show you this, and then we'll move on to the semantic activities. So this is the new selection helper that will also GA in 2510. So I'm indicating the submit button. And here in the target part, the semantic selector is turned off by default because we don't want to delay the experience. So when you turn it on, we actually ask an LLM to generate a description for this element. And it says button to submit the data entered into the form fields. Okay, a bit much, but you can edit this and you can say the button that changes the language, and you can test your new description. It will be highlighted in yellow here. You see, it found this one. Or you can say the input box for email and test this one. And it found it. So this is going to be available also as a primary targeting method. So if you're going to turn off the selector and computer vision, this will become primary targeting method. For some of the descriptions, such as, I don't know, the orange button, I mean, for some of the attributes that cannot be covered by selectors and computer vision, semantic selector is the way to go as a primary targeting method. Okay, now the semantic activities are, as I told you, focused on web forms. So they're about extract form data is about copying the structure of a form and its data. And fill form and update UI element are about pasting. And update UI element, I'm going to show you, is a bit more generic and covers the functionality of multiple interaction activities. Let me show you a very, very quick overview of these activities. Hope the sound is off. So yes, it does use all of these semantic and agentic activities and layers are all based on our proprietary DOM analysis engine. The semantic activities also have a semantic matching and semantic execution engine. And this one here is showing how, extract form data is used to extract this forms data. And then we use fill form with only as input, the output object from extract form data, and it automatically matches and fills in this form. Fill form can also be used with Excel input, basically any structured object, but also unstructured. There's a quick demo of that as well. So this is from Excel. This is from an unstructured text, right? An email that contains all the relevant information, and fill form automatically does the matching and filling in of the form. So you see, they're all limited. These micro agents are limited to what we see as web forms. Now, for set value, a very cool functionality is that it covers basically almost any interactable element. So you can use it instead of type into, check uncheck, select item, but also for date pickers or groups of radio buttons. So here is an example of how it can replace type into. So you can just use it like this. Then, here in this drop down, even if the target is Holland, in the drop down you have a value that's called Netherlands, it will semantically match it and interact with the drop down. So you see it set the Netherlands here. Here you can see how it sets a date. So the input here was, you see, June 1st, so it was another format, but it manages to to match the output format here with no options. And this is to show that it's also resilient to language changes. This is something that's true to any LLM based automation. So even this is in Hungarian, it manages to choose this choice one here. Okay, so now I'm gonna hand over to Cosmin to dive into the good stuff, into ScreenPlay, for a short presentation and demos, and then we're gonna come back.
Thank you, Bogdan. We'll move this out of the way. Okay, so ScreenPlay. As you've seen in Bogdan's presentation a bit earlier, ScreenPlay is sort of the outer ring of that layout, meaning it has the most agency of all the let's say semantic approaches to UI automation. But first, let's take a closer look at what this is. So you can think of it as autonomous driving for computers, for UIs, basically. You give it a task like book me accommodation in Berlin, and the agent will drive the mouse and keyboard in order to get us there. So how does it work? This ScreenPlay is powered by large action models. Basically, in the UI, you can pick which model you want to use, but we'll get to that a bit later. And these models can plan, execute clicks and keystrokes on any interface. This gives the robots the ability to use software, to use application, to use computers just like a human. So what does that get us? But actually, no. So let's dive a bit deeper because I think this is a good forum for that. So how this agent works is that it has an agentic loop that basically observes the current state of the UI. Then, based on the prompt or goal that the user gives it, makes a plan for what are the next actions to take, and then executes the very next action. And then after it executes an action, it basically repeats the whole loop of observe, plan, and execute. This planning, as I said, is powered by an action model. And we have multiple to pick from that give you, different balances of price, speed, intelligence, and so on. Okay, so what does that actually give us? These emerging technologies promise to deliver huge advantages in reliability, ease of use, implementation time, and capability. Yes, all of them better, faster, easier, and more. Full disclosure, we're not exactly there yet, meaning these advantages are real, but there are also some disadvantages that we will talk after this. So let's take these one by one. It's the first and probably one of the most important for high-level people and decision makers is the fact that it lowers total cost of ownership for automation. Basically, it makes workflows more resilient, so they break less often, and this lowers the cost of maintenance. Then it lowers development barrier. This is not, just marketing speak. It makes things easy. This actually makes building UI automation significantly easier. We have, even in the call here, the best UI automation builders in the world, and they can attest to that. The third one is that it enables non-viable tasks, meaning tasks that are technically or theoretically possible, but not really practical. One example is that one of our customers wanted to enter the same data in about 300 different websites, and theoretically it's possible. They could build 300 different automations for each website, but then they would have to maintain them and so on, so it's not really viable. This enabled this type of tasks. Then it enables new cognitive capabilities. These are things that were not previously possible before, and now with this technology they are. And actually I will show a quick demo of how that works as well. And last but not least, it unlocks a new set of scenarios on Linux and Macs, so you can increase your automation footprint. All right, so with these pretty big advantages, there are also disadvantages or drawbacks. The main drawbacks of this are that it is an emergent technology, so it is slow, expensive, and sometimes unpredictable, especially on long workflows, much like our friend here. So, what is our approach to this? What is our recommendation to you so that you can get the benefits while avoiding the drawbacks? Well, we identified that the sweet spot for the current state of technology, the sweet spot for getting high reliability out of them is microtasks. This is where these models in their current state get to the high reliability that we want from them. Microtasks being very short sequences of steps between 1 to 5. So a few clicks and or a few type actions, and then this being a microtask, you can chain multiple tasks together. Now, of course, in order to build a full automation, you need to chain together multiple microtasks, this gives you the end-to-end automation, as it were. Now we have analyzed the existing competition and so on, and we at this moment basically we're the only company that gives this technology this capability of being used in production, unattended, and at scale, because you need all these capabilities, basically having the capability to chain together multiple microtasks, the option to have fallbacks to RPA and so on, to build an actual enterprise reliable automation. Okay, so I think that's it for this part. Let me give you a quick demo for how everything works. Let me first start my virtual machine, and I will share in a bit. All right. So the first example we will take a look at is we'll demonstrate how much easier using this technology is than classical RPA. So just to take a very simple scenario, let's say you have to log into this ERP site, and here you have to, let's reset this, you have to check the tickets that are have the status open, priority high, and are submitted today. As you can see, I could explain in one sentence what this task needs to do. Select the tickets that are open, high, and submitted today. However, unfortunately, this is not very easy to do with classical automation, and I will show you how that works. And then compare with how that works with UI agent. So I have this automation here, and first it types the username and password, and I have here a whole sequence that is commented out that shows how this would be done with classical RPA. So in order to do that, first you need to extract the whole table, this table, to be able to analyze it. Then filter the data table using the parameters that I described, open, high, and the date. This is some debug info. And then do a for each loop on each row of the filter table where you extract the subject, and then with that subject, you create a dynamic click, you create a dynamic selector that you use in a click activity. I won't get into a lot more details. You get the point. You have to have a bit of experience. This is definitely not for the beginners or for the faint of heart. Now, let's take a look how that works with agents. So with ScreenPlay, I have here the old name. You have to add a single activity instead of all those that you've seen, and just give it the prompt in natural language, just like I explained it to you. Click the checkboxes corresponding to the rows that have open and high priority, not also critical. I will get to that later. Tickets from today. And that's about it. Also give it the date, fixed date, so that this is reproducible. Okay, so that's basically it. You can replace this whole thing with a single prompt. And let's see it running. Let me reset this to the initial state and run. So the first thing that will happen, it will log in, and this will happen pretty fast. That was it. And as you will see now, checking those two things will be much slower. This is going back to the disadvantages that I mentioned earlier, the fact that it's slower and expensive. But it did work, and it was much easier, and of course, pretty reliable. Okay, so that was the first example that demonstrated how much easier it is. Now let's take a look at something maybe more interesting. An example that shows something that wasn't at all possible before. Again, this is a real use case from one of our partners that cannot be named. Let's just say that they are a major CPU manufacturer, and they wanted to test Fortnite and actually the very many different versions of Fortnite for compatibility on their CPUs. The problem with automating this was that all the versions look slightly different. Actually, let me show you the very different versions. So this is one example. It does have a play button, but it's blue and in the bottom right corner. This also has a play button, but it's on the left and so on. This looks completely different. This is similar, but again, different. This is in a completely different language. So yeah. So as you can see, while these are similar, the text is different, the colors are different, how it looks is different. So basically, you cannot use text automation, you cannot use image automation. It just cannot be done with current methods. Right, so how would that work? So in order to test this out and to demo it to you, we've built a small interactive playground for each screen. Basically, if you click outside the correct button, you get this. If you click correctly on the button, you get success. So that's it, pretty easy. Let's see how the robot is doing. I'll quickly explain this because it's pretty easy, and it also outlines an important point that we'll make later. But first, let me explain. So first, we listed all the images, let's say all the playgrounds in a CSV file. Then we read each row, and for each row, we open the URL using OpenURL. And then after we open the URL, we take a single action on each one. Click the play button. If there are multiple play buttons, click on the biggest one or the one that seems like the main one. That's absolutely all there is to it. Just for demo purposes, let me show you also different models. The previous example was using, I think, OpenAI operator. Then in this case, let's try with Anthropic computer use. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Let's run it. So basically, this will go through all the images that you've seen and open them and try to click on the play button. And let's see how that works. One thing, again, you will notice with this example as well is speed. These things, for now, are not very fast. This one went faster than expected. But yeah, as you can see, they enable things that are not really possible before. Success again. Okay, this is going pretty good. The pause that you see after clicking, so this is again in a completely different language. As you've seen, the instructions don't mention anything about it. Hopefully it will get it right. Let's see. Thinking for longer in this one. Okay, so the pause that you see after success is that the models basically evaluate if it's successful, if the task is done. Sometimes they actually get it wrong, and again, sometimes they automatically correct. Basically, they close the pop-up and they try again on a different button. And like this one, it tried again, but on the wrong button for some reason. Okay, and I think that's about it. Basically, we'll go through multiple versions of this test to see how well it performs. Any questions or no? Actually, Bogdan, do you want to do the next demo and we'll take questions later, right?
Yeah, yeah. Let me go to, yes, this. So this is a very interesting demo, and I want you to imagine having to automate this via traditional RPA, let's say. Um, this is a Vattenfall is an energy supplier, and this scenario will show how ScreenPlay can automatically deal with pop-ups, and then it will perform this prompt. So the prompt is find that it will basically do a data extraction scenario, but it's very, very semantic. So the prompt is find the
Model
cheapest.
performance is evaluated.
Yeah. So the prompt is find the cheapest electricity tariff for Munich that is eco-friendly for my family, me, my wife, and our three kids. Um, Basically, I'm doing this because I have a zip code input box and a drop down that I need to select how many people are in the house, you know. So I'm saying I'm giving out these semantic clues: me, my wife, and the three kids, with no heat pump installed. This is because on the tariffs page there are some cheaper tariffs that are only for heat pump owners. So then I say output both the cheapest price and your reasoning as detailed as possible. So we can have a look at the end in the logs. So there was a question on the chat. Screenplay is also available in Studio Web. This is the old name UI agent here. So it's gonna be available everywhere. Studio Desktop, Studio Web. Okay, now let's run this and see how it goes. So the first hurdle for it is to get rid of this pop-up message. It's instructed to do this in its system prompt. So by default, it will always get rid of uh, pop-ups. If you do know what to click on, you can also use the close pop-up activity or instruct it in the prompt here. So you see, based on the instruction, I told it Munich, so it invented a zip code for Munich. This is very cool. And now for the instruction, it should select 5 persons, so me, my wife, and 3 kids. Okay, and now it clicked on the okay, another one. Okay, this is new. I think it's going rogue. I think it's opening new tabs here. I don't think it's this is one example of how it can go wrong. Uh it seemed like it did try to open the page as well. I'm not sure why this happened. Let's see. Let's let it run for a bit.
Can you try clicking on accept selected? Maybe the
Yeah, I need
website
to take
opens on
yeah, take
another.
remote control. Save selected.
Oh, so it's not the
Let's
website.
see. Okay, so it did click it, but it also opened these tabs. I have no idea why it did that. Okay, exit remote control. Okay. Now let's see if it manages to finish the task. So this is via GPT-4.1, I think that's the model. I need to check if it's 4.1 or 4.1 mini. So it's using the DOM. It doesn't need to scroll. So okay. It seemed like it did something. Let's take a look at the logs. Uh Need a zoom in. Okay, so we managed to do the task. And the reasoning here, so it found the wait, it found the cheapest tariff, and the reasoning is for a friend for a family of five, an eco-friendly option, all applicable bonus, 100% green. Okay, and here it says, that heat pumps were excluded as requested. So you have the entire reasoning and the extraction here. um yeah, this is something that I don't even imagine how I could do this via traditional automation. So such semantic data extraction will be very cool. Now, we have a tool that will offer as part of the debugging of screenplay that you can inspect. So you will be able to upload the trace. So you'll just um, have a setting for outputting these traces of the agent, and when you upload it, will basically show you the some overall metrics. We won't have the total. This is only for temporary. It's a temporary tool for us, so we won't expose the total cost because it's something we can't really dynamically map to the pricings, but we will output the steps, number of steps, and then you can correlate that with the pricing. Cosmin has a dedicated slide for pricing, and you can find out, you can estimate how much will this cost, So if there are statistics about the duration, there's the screenshot with the target element, and then the parameters, this is the loop, observe, reason, and then the action, right? Details about the prompt, including exposing the system prompt. We had inquiries of some of the preview customers that were saying, look, I think your agent is kind of creative, and this is to expose it and to trust the agent, via inspecting its prompt, its parameters. And I believe this will be a very, very powerful tool so that you can debug what happened and everything in more detail. And now yeah, I'm gonna switch again to Cosmin because he'll tell you about the preview program that we have and the pricing. You're on mute, Cosmin.
Sorry. Right. So currently we are in public preview. So this means that this is available for anyone to try out, especially those on the enterprise licenses. For now, this is not available on community, but I will get to that later. So it's available in a few tiers, let's say. The first and most accessible one is with a bring your own model subscription. Basically, you will need a subscription for at least one of the models that we support. You can connect that to the platform and then use the product for free in unlimited using the subscription that you provided. And this is available right now to pretty much everybody. For a select few customers that have, let's say, more difficult or plans to roll this out to much larger number of robots or so on, we also have a subscription where we basically cover the costs for everything. You get access to all the models based on, of course, a limited number of tokens. And pretty soon, about mid next month, we will enable this access to everybody free of charge to absolutely everybody, including community. Unfortunately, this takes a bit longer than desired, but yes, pretty soon this will be available to everybody. Of course, there is a difference between the two. The MVPs have a much more generous number of token or basically usage available. But yes, this will be free to try for everybody. And of course, this will be under general availability in 25.10. At that point, there will be no need to bring your own subscription of any kind. You will still be able to if you so desire, but you don't have to. Um, Now, in terms of pricing for after the GA, we don't have the exact numbers, but we can give you like the mantra that we're trying to follow. We want this to be very accessible and encourage consumption because we feel that this technology has yet to be proven in production at scale, as we say in our presentation. So we wanted to make this as accessible as possible. So after GA, the Bring Your Own Model subscription type will be virtually free, or at least over the cost that it incurs on our servers. Basically, if you bring your own subscription, we hope to make this basically free for you. You only pay the price for that subscription, and you can use this as much as you want in unlimited manner. Since of course, this will also, if you don't have a bring your own subscription, this will incur cost in terms of agent units. But we plan to make the cost for that as low as possible just to cover our cost. And yeah, so basically you can try this as much as possible. We also want to give a completely free trial to everybody. Of course, this will be limited again in the number of tokens. And we want to make this available both to community and enterprise so that we encourage consumption and testing and feedback as much as possible. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I think we can open it up to questions. Would anybody like to unmute and shoot up a question?
Hello, yes, good morning. My name is Carlitos. I did have a question. During the screenplay of one brief moment, I just want to go back to my notes. When it was testing out the Fortnite, there was a success for the Hungarian language, I believe that was for the play, and then it continued to try to look for another play, which ended up failing. Isn't there an opportunity for us to be able to input a stop after the first play so it doesn't create false um, like defects when it already was a success?
Mhm. Yes, it is, and that's how you should normally do it. We don't have like a different input field or a different method of doing that. But you can just provide that in the main prompt. Like for in that example that I wanted to keep it as small as possible. You can say that after clicking the play button, stop, and that's it. And of course, this is where prompt engineering comes in. You have to try it out, see how the model behaves, and fine tune your prompt until you get the desired results.
We also plan to have a feature called, verification, semantic verification, which is derived from the verify execution functionality we already have in UI automation. For clicks, for type intos, we have these verifications that you can indicate. So here you could say something like, when the success card appears, this is the, the stop condition. So hopefully this will, help the agent decide that the task is finished. But at the end of the day, the reality is, it all depends on how good the model is. Remember the cat gif? So it might you might tell it to, to stop at one point, but it might not um you know respect your instructions. So
Certainly, thank you. That does answer my question.
Yeah.
I've got a quick question. Hugh Abbott here from London. Good afternoon, everyone. I think Bogdan, you were suggesting that the best architecture would be to make lots of micro agents that are sort of specialists in doing things, and then pass over bits of functionality from micro agent to micro agent. So I think that Fortnite thing was a bit difficult because that might have been created in 2 or 3 micro agents. Is that right?
Yes, because that was actually one of the, I mean, also the ERP example is one of the edge cases, let's say that. So it has a reliability, as Cosmin told you, about I don't know, 80 to 90%. So that's not the best example, but it's there to say that, you know, if tomorrow OpenAI releases a GPT-6 or 17, you know, it will be there. You can use it, will very quickly deploy it, and you'll be able to use it. And then related to your initial question, it's actually more complicated than that. It's not only about splitting into several micro agents. It's about um, doing a bit of optimization work and actually thinking, do I actually need an UI agent, a screenplay? Can I do this with a simpler tool, let's say semantic activity? If not, can I do it with semantic selector? Do I really need a semantic selector? So the mantra here is the philosophy is use the simplest tool, you know, for the job. So we're gonna try to come up with a guidance on that. And you know, I was asked in the chat about an academy course about this. So we definitely need to guide, you know, the users towards optimizing the tools. It's a matter of processing, of speed, of cost, of reliability, you know. So it's something that the best way to go is only use these more complex tools when absolutely needed. You know?
Yeah,
Yeah, because they're slow,
similar,
not they're slow and expensive. So
yeah, it's basically a similar discussion as the older discussion between API and UI automation. When should we use API or when should we use API UI automation? And this part of architecting the whole automation is still on the side of the developer that has to understand these tools and make the right decision. But in this case, if we look at it in, let's say, broad strokes, API automation is preferable, of course, when it is available. UI automation, then next, UI automation is still will be preferable when API automation is not available, but UI automation performs well. You are not in a case where the robot needs to react to infinitely changing website or a dynamic website or stuff like that. And if UI automation doesn't work because you're in one of those cases, then you can try screenplay and more agentic approaches.
thank you.
Sure. Any other questions?
So I see that you responded
Yes.
to all the questions in the chat.
Yeah, there's a very interesting one from Vlad Richniak about, he said about the first demo, replace many RPA activities with single prompt. Wouldn't it be better to be done by autopilot recorder that will generate stable selectors and can be reused without AI cost? So yeah, we did answer something in the chat, but I wanted to expand a bit on this. So first of all, again, if this is good enough for you, yes, sure, use that. If you know that the selectors will be stable and the UI doesn't change, then it's fine. But you can this is also related to a feature we want to have in the future. Not sure it's gonna make it to GA, to be honest. It's about reusing the plan, right? So exactly how you told there, you know, to freeze the yeah, to freeze the plan and reuse without AI cost. So you can freeze the planning and reuse it, and only when the plan fails to regenerate the plan. But there are kind of this flow is kind of complicated, and it's not very easy to cover, you know. So we are aware of this pattern, and we are trying to come up with a solution of, you know, of caching the plan, but it's not very straightforward to do. So in the meantime, yeah, you can use the recorder as well. But for anything that's dynamic, we strongly recommend, you know, something more agentic.
Yeah, I understand. Thank you for this. It's actually a good point that basically for this particular task, what we were choosing, it was the items could change, and we don't want to freeze the selectors, right? And what I would do probably would be not autopilot recorder, but autopilot to generate me RPA activities, and yeah, that's it.
But yeah, but
Yeah, but that would have the
Mhm.
same problem. Basically, when you generate the automation, there will be a set of tickets and a set of valid selectors, but the next day there will be a different set of tickets. So those selectors, especially since they will be based on the title of the ticket, they won't be valid anymore.
uh, yeah. I guess it would be. It depends on the site and the selectors, but the
And the
simplest
task.
flow would extract data table should have the same selector, and then by index you would choose
but the
something.
index is dynamic there. Yeah, you don't know which of the
The
items are.
it would be programmed in RPA, the logic to I extract the basically what's done on the demo. Yeah, this the commented out
Right,
stuff.
right. Yeah,
Yeah,
that also explains what we were saying earlier. If there is a way through which you can do it with your automation and works reliably at scale and can handle the dynamic state of the UI, by all means, it will be faster and cheaper. But some situations like the second demo don't really have that option, and in
yeah,
that case, you can go with the agent.
yeah.
I can give you a bit of a similar example. I have another version of Cosmin's demo in which I have this submitted column here. You see how it is? It contains, you know, cities, but also countries. It's a bit fuzzy, and the prompt in my case is extract the issues that are open status, and the location is in Europe. So how would you do that via RPA? Okay, maybe you could find something, you know, to validate, extract the table, validate that so this is part of Europe, I don't know, via an API or something, but it would be very complicated, you know. And
Yeah.
semantics are very, or should be very good with the discerning, you know, if it's Europe or something else, you know, just to give you an example. And one more thing I want to mention, you're saying here about the AI cost. Yeah, sure, there is an AI cost here, but it's all about reducing the maintenance cost, which might be much larger. I mean, having to intervene in your automations frequently obviously brings large costs, you know. So it's a matter of balancing, you know, all these.
Uh, can I have one more question?
Sure, sure.
Yeah, so looking into the future, so for now we're saying that AI agent is good with microtasks. How about I have a PDD or a part of PDD that automates couple of pages in UI,
Mhm.
and I don't want to by myself to write divide this into small prompts. can I, or when I will be able in UiPath upload a PDD or a big context, and it will automatically divide it and basically create me a working solution.
Yeah, we're evaluating that. We've noticed this need quite a bit. And since these agents perform better with smaller chunks of agentic tasks, that does make sense. But it's still pretty early, and we're evaluating if building such a capability makes sense in this fast evolving landscape of models. Meaning we're evaluating if maybe in a couple of months there won't be a model that basically won't need this type of splitting into smaller chunks. But yeah, it looks like we might start building something like this. But yeah, we'll let you know.
I just have a comment on this. I mean, I am also very confident that, I mean, within the, I don't know, next 1 or 2 years, we'll have such models capable of doing this, but you will still have the major issue of, trusting the agent. Even now, you can only trust the agent after you run it for tens or even hundreds of times and seeing that the output is consistent. And this consistency, well, hopefully will also improve with the how powerful the model is, but you will still need some sort of tools to debug your agent and to run it very a number of times, of the hundreds of times, and seeing that it always does the same thing, because you don't want it to have surprises at runtime, right? So that's one of the key issues for this.
Yeah, that's for sure need to be validated as everything with
Yeah.
AI. It's like, I mean, I'm looking for some cursor experience in UiPath when I have a documentation, create me a code, and I in UiPath I would be able, so it generates something, I validate it. For example, in Autopilot Recorder, I really like it. I mean, it has some disadvantages, but basically the interaction, I have a prompt, it generates stuff, and I test it so I can give a feedback immediately if it's okay or not. So I'm looking for this in Desktop Studio and for more stuff.
Yeah, definitely. And ideally, this autopilot recorder should also, automatically do what I said earlier, the optimization between, RPA steps, semantic selectors, activities, semantic screenplay and everything, So yeah, we want this as well.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Andrea, I'm not hearing you.
I was just looking to see if there are any other questions in the chat, but there aren't, and we are on time. So I'm not sure if there is one last person who wants to unmute, and if not, going once, going twice. Then I will invite you to register for our next session on the 24th of September. You have the link in the chat, building and shipping UiPath coded agents. I want to thank everybody. I want to thank the speakers from today and the organizing team as well, Anastasia and Mihai, and the speakers, Bogdan and Cosmin. And see you next time. And thank you all for joining.
Thank
Thanks,
you,
everyone.
everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay.